I always say More Than Me was birthed on Myspace, and we helped build a school on Facebook, and we helped end Ebola through Instagram.
Meet Katie Myler, the founder of More Than Me. We first met her during the height of the Ebola epidemic.
I'm afraid too, but they say courage is not the absence of fear, it's the ability to act in spite of it.
More Than Me educates women in Liberia, but their world turned upside down when Ebola hit. We watched the horrors unfold on Katie's Instagram.
If there is a hell, this is what it was.
Time even featured her incredible work in their Person of the Year issue. Thankfully, the crisis is over, and Katie is home for now.
I know that I can do more good for Liberia actually being here, speaking to people like Warren Buffett about the need for them to help rebuild the infrastructure there.
I've been watching a lot of your pictures on Instagram as you've been back. Do you think you've changed significantly in the way that you look at the world?
It's the way that I see people, the way I see advantages or disadvantages. I mean, even just in the last 6 months watching all the people die that I watched die, I'm not the same. I'm drastically a different human being.
So who was that person?
I grew up in New Jersey. There was a lot of drugs and chaos and abuse in the house. I escaped the pain in a different way. I got really involved with my youth group. I moved to Liberia to run adult literacy programs. Then, for fun, I played with children, and I'd say to them, if you could have anything in the entire world, what would it be? And Elizabeth would look at me and she would say, I just want to go to school. So on MySpace, I was telling stories like I do on Instagram, and people were wiring me money to Liberia. And as I was using that money to pay, for kids' school tuition. And this New York City tax attorney, her name's Erica, she's like, Katie, you really need to start your own organization.
And you started, obviously, More Than Me. And there's a picture of your friend who helped you start it.
I remember going to Josh and saying, I'm not smart enough or Ivy League enough. And he's looked at me dead in the face and he's like, get over yourself. It's not about you. And I remember playing that in my head over and over again, and that's where the name More Than Me actually comes from. So there was this Chase American Giving Award, and they were giving away $1 million to the organization that got the most amount of Facebook likes.
And the recipient of the $1 million grant from Chase Bank is More Than Me Foundation.
Without social media, we literally would not exist.
Your organization really didn't come to the forefront until Ebola struck Liberia. You were reaching out to Doctors Without Borders here?
Yeah. The first day I went into the quarantine zone, West Point had been quarantined, and I was like, this stuff is out of control. You could tell the West Point people didn't believe that there was any Ebola, and I actually went to MSF to get their advice. I know for a fact that I will use my life to do everything that I can to make sure that something like Ebola never happens again. I am just a girl from New Jersey, and I think the point of that, and what I hope comes through with that, is that ordinary, normal people can do extraordinary things.